I chose to work with collage because the fragility of the paper was very fitting to the theme of losing someone to a disease that gradually takes layer by layer the person who my father was. I chose a specific kind of paper, a blue paper that turns yellow in the sun. So when you see the book as two parts, in the first part he loses his language and his orientation, and in the second part he loses his physicality. So he can't get up from bed anymore, and he can't really swallow his food anymore, so he becomes very thin. For me it helped to visualize the disease with the paper and the yellowing paper and all the layers on top of each other to hide something, to obscure something, to bring something in light. At the end of the book the compositions are also simpler because they are more from the point of view of my father, and he's observing his space around him, and not so much, I'm not documenting the actions anymore, what's happening, what he's doing, the daily routine, but more his interior world. When the book was finished, I was really eager to learn new techniques and work more with other materials. And I've been looking for new ways to express myself since. I'm working with watercolors, more digital things, a lot of printing. I use the computer a lot. Computer is more of a tool than a goal. It's not like I want to make a digital drawing, but it's something that allows me to be more playful. The basis of my work is always drawn, so I still draw with pencil, but then I scan the drawings and then I convert them in Photoshop, and I use colors, I use layering as well, until I find what I'm looking for. My father was sick for a very long time. As the days went by, I started to document everything. I kept a series of photographs, I made films of him. I wrote down in a diary what was happening. He was keeping a journal. As an artist, I felt like I should do something with this material, so I started to weave it into installations that I was making for exhibitions. I made collages, I made drawings, tape drawings. Little by little I also wanted to make it into a proper narrative. I wanted to create a comic, a graphic novel. It was a process of creating because it wasn't like something happened and I could write about it. It was taking place as I was writing. So it was difficult to try and decide when to end the story. I always start from photo reference when I'm working on a project. I start by making sketches and drawings from photos and materials that are already there, from reality. Sometimes I just go somewhere and I draw from observation. In this case, it was very good to have these sketches first before I started making the collages. But as soon as I drew a photo and I had a drawing of my father, it wasn't as hurtful anymore because it was just a drawing. From then on it was more easy to work with the materials that I had. The most difficult to see my father and try and turn him into a drawing than it was to work with the drawings themselves. For me, the book was very much about creating togetherness and showing how a family can stay together even during very hard times. And I think this is what is happening right now to the world, where people are very much separated from each other and families have to choose between who they can see. We can only be together in bubbles. You can't really see your friends in the way that you're used to. My work is always very nostalgic, so I think, or melancholic, where you can see there's a sadness and a need to regress maybe to times where everything was more simple.